Hello, my name is Jeff Adcock, the Chief Strategy Officer at Needle, and I appreciate you joining us today. The topic we'll be discussing is why only 2% of online shoppers convert and 4 things you can do to increase conversions. Big brands and online retailers are under pressure. A week doesn't go by that I don't read about another retailer that is feeling the pressure of slow online sales. I get to interact with many of these brands, and they share with me a fear of needing more online sales, yet their efforts do not seem to get favorable results. Fortune just published a very down review on retail, reporting that they must get new strategies or suffer further devaluation in the market. Macy's, Fossil, Nordstrom, Tiffany, Staples, and Target were all called out in this article. Juxtaposed to this message is a message of continued growth of online sales. Over the past decade, online shopping has taken hold in North America, keeping pace with Forrester's research prediction that online retail sales will grow from $263 billion in 2013 to over $480 billion in 2019. So what gives? The reality is, more and more brands and products are coming online, more shoppers too, with mobile, but the conversion rates are still an anemic 2%. There are a lot of contributing factors to this. I'm going to share with you 4 areas that are killing sales and proven methods to focus on that will raise conversion rates by 600 to 1,000% on targeted shoppers. So let's jump in. 2%. That is a very small number. So why is it that we spend so much money on marketing, e-commerce, and we can't seem to raise the conversion rates? There are a lot of reasons, but to paint it in one broad brushstroke, we're doing more marketing than we are selling. Let's dig a little deeper. The e-commerce industry as a whole is chucking more spaghetti at the wall, and still only 2% is sticking. So increasing volume is raising the overall online spend, as Forrester reports, but the conversion rates still remain low. The first thing you must recognize to raise conversion rates, not all visitors are the same. Your traffic is made up of people with very different intentions. You have lookers, shoppers, and buyers. The first step in raising conversion rates is identifying these 3 groups and building a strategy for each. What makes them different is their intent to buy. I will cover this in more detail in a moment, but suffice it to say, a great strategy for increasing conversion rates starts with a targeted approach to these 3 categories. The second thing you must recognize is how much online retailers have unknowingly stacked the deck against the shopper, and many key ingredients to buying have eroded in the move to online. These changes have had a major impact on purchasing for shoppers and buyers. They're not comfortable with their purchase decisions on your website. In an effort to provide more product options and more convenience to the online shopper, we have left behind product experience and trust that was a cornerstone of the local retail experience. We should all be familiar with Google's research on the topic of online shoppers' journey and the 0 moment of truth. If not, take time after this webinar to read up on it. There are a lot of great articles, including some on our website, needle.com, covering this topic. The focus for this discussion is the online shopping journey is continuing to grow, and there are several alarming trends. The search for data needed to make a purchase is growing and is now averaging over 11 searches. Of the shoppers that make it to the cart, 70% abandon the cart, and that number is rising. And the 2% of shoppers that actually buy, 33% are concluding what I like to call remorse research, and that is 20% are trying to figure out if they made the best choice, and 13% are looking for alternative products and solutions. So, to summarize, we are sending buyers on a search that is 3 times longer than it was a few years ago and growing. 70% make it to the cart and bill out. Only 2% purchase, and of that 2%, 1/3 are actually questioning their purchase. Now, before we get too depressed, let's peel it back the onion a little further and start laying out ways to win. First, and the most foundational part of a good conversion strategy, is focusing on the right people. That is, people with the intent to buy. So let's hop back to this slide. There is a spectrum of intent to buy coming to your site. There are averages, But rather than getting off in the weeds on that, let's agree to categorize these in 3 groups based on their intent to purchase. The first group we call lookers, and they make up 50 to 60% of your traffic. Again, these averages can be skewed, but it is safe to say half of your traffic has zero intent to buy coming to your website. Shoppers, on the other hand, have a moderate intention to buy. They are still high in the sales funnel, weighing out options, defining their needs, understanding their budget, etc. Your effort here is to help them narrow the options, define their true needs, and get a product that fits in their budget. The third group, buyers, are ready to buy from someone. It can be you, another website, or brick and mortar. They may not know exactly what they're getting yet, many do, but they're likely to buy now or in the very near future. The interesting thing is, most websites put the exact same marketing and sales effort into these 3 groups. Even though over half your traffic has no intention to buy, we treat them the same as those that are coming in with a credit card next to their laptop, ready to go. What you see quickly from the strategy, or lack thereof, is we are wasting time and effort on lookers and not spending enough effort on the shoppers and buyers. If we agree this is not a useful application of resources, what would be? When you stand back and think about it, it becomes fairly obvious. You stop wasting resources on visitors that will never buy and move that to people that have a higher propensity to purchase. This is why this is the first point in the foundation of your strategy. A good plan of execution always starts with what am I going to stop doing today and where can I apply that recouped resource for greater results. You are going to play the odds, with the same effort redeployed where the percentages are more in your favor. In fact, what Needle has found over the years is with our analytics and targeting, we can accurately predict which 50% of your shoppers are not on your website to buy. What that means is you can cut those visits out and the revenue from your website would not drop 1 penny. Now, the upside comes from focusing your efforts on the remaining visits that have a medium to high intention of buying. So start here first to create your strategy. If you don't, then you're just spending more money to chuck spaghetti. With this first move, you have laid the groundwork to increase conversion rates, focused on half or even less of your traffic. Now let's talk about the number 1 killer of sales. That's risk. Risk is the second most important thing you can address to get a competitive advantage and see your conversion rates skyrocket. Let's look at the buyer's journey again and put yourself in the shopper's shoes. There's a lot of risk in any purchase, but to buy online, your purchase risk is significantly higher. To date, online retailers have addressed many of these risks for the buyer with free shipping, free returns, and fast delivery. But take a look at these efforts and what do you notice? That's right. All of these are post-purchase risks. Can I get it in time? Is it going to cost me a lot more over just driving to the store? And what if it's the wrong thing? So congratulations. For doing these things, buyers have responded. Now for the bad news. All post-purchase efforts are a commodity. These are expected, not an advantage. So, where should you focus to gain an advantage or get more of your traffic off the fence and buying? That's right. You need to focus on the pre-purchase risk. This area here, the 0 moment of truth, is where all the magic happens. This is where you can shorten buying cycles, build loyalty, and yes, get your conversion rates to dramatically increase. I'm going to take you back in time to local retail shops and my first job, Adcock Auto Supply. Risk used to be squarely on the retailer. I grew up in a retailer's family. My dad started and owned Adcock Auto Supply. He was meticulous about the products he stocked in his store. It was only the products that he stood behind, and as a result, shoppers knew they could trust him. They trusted my dad to carry good products that worked as advertised. They trusted he would sell them the right products and not waste their time with products that didn't deliver on the goals of the shopper. He had limited shelf space and bore all the risk of selling the right product for the need, the quality of the product, and even making sure it was a complete purchase, meaning the buyer had everything they needed to get the desired outcome. Contrast that with today's online shopping experience. The online retailer has unlimited shelf space, And the worst that happens is someone is diligent enough to return a product that doesn't fit the shopper's need, and then they have to deal with it. Shoppers are smart enough to know there are even strategies around selling inferior or even the wrong products or solution, knowing that returns are only a small percentage and worth the risk. Put yourself in the shopper's shoes for a second. They buy the product or service and then wait valuable time only to find out that the product sold doesn't deliver on quality, features, or it is an incomplete purchase, and they need to make an add-on purchase to get the solution they're looking for. Now the shopper has to deal with that wrong or incomplete purchase. This trend started with the transition from local retailers to big box and has accelerated with internet shopping. You must address this risk to the shopper to increase conversion rates. This is Sales 101. Every buyer wants to de-risk their purchase as much as they can prior to buying. The lower you make that risk, the higher conversion rates will get. The third thing to focus on is narrowing options and expanding product knowledge. As mentioned earlier, online retailers have the option for unlimited shelf space, and this has led to a few contributing factors to poor conversion rates. The explosion of options has made even previously simple choices, yes, I will have Crest or Colgate, to so many choices you almost need to close your eyes and say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And this is just for a tube of toothpaste. This explosion of choices has dramatically reduced conversion rates and has been dubbed the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice was studied in a famous test published in the Harvard Business Review. Excess of input leads to angst, indecision, regret, and ultimately lower satisfaction with purchase and product itself. Too many choices or information is paralyzing. 6 jars of jam were placed near the checkout aisle with an incentive for shoppers to purchase. The 6-jar display attracted 40% of the shoppers and 30% converted. So, in true internet fashion, more is better, right? They next added to the display a 400% increase in options. They had 24 jars of jam, and with the increase of options, they attracted 60% of the shoppers. That was a 50% increase. Pretty awesome. What do you think the conversion rate was with 400% more options and 50% more interest? A mere 3%. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. So what happened? The same thing that is happening on so many websites today. Too many choices lead to no decision. You have put too much work on the shopper, and feeling overwhelmed, the best choice is no choice. The last area of focus to increase conversion rates is trust. We have talked about risk, product options, and knowledge. Trust has been traded for convenience, and at the end of the day, no matter how convenient shopping from your couch is, without enough trust in the process, the information you are providing, etc., this leads to no decision, or getting up off the couch and driving down to the store to establish it. Trust is at an all-time low. In a recent survey of 1,300 shoppers, Needle found the following. Only 12% of shoppers trust a company employee. The trust doesn't even move for fellow shoppers of the brand or site. It too is stuck at 12%. Reviews have been gamed, and trust from the retailer is at an all-time low. Trust skyrockets by 400% when consumers get advice from experts, and by over 500% when talking to a person that has owned the product. So, who are the experts and owners of the products? Well, let's start with who they're not. They are not the celebrity endorsements of old. Shoppers are looking for advice on the whole ownership experience. They want to talk to people that have actually used the product for a while and glean from them that ownership experience. So in a buyer's journey context, they're looking to get the second moment of truth, the ownership experience, prior to making the purchase. That is a beautiful thing. Actually getting all the trusted ownership experience prior to taking any of the buying risk. Short of hopping in a time machine and asking yourself, was it worth it? Would you buy it again? This is the next best thing learning from others' ownership experience. In fact, for the first time, online shopping has a potential to give a competitive advantage to retailers. Getting ownership experience can be very costly in the brick-and-mortar arena. Online, this can be done very cost efficiently through advocates. And the beautiful thing about connecting this together, you're actually shortening the buying journey for the shopper by reducing searches, reducing risk, narrowing options, ensuring complete purchases, increasing conversions, and creating a standout customer experience, and the list of advantages goes on and on. Advocates can cover a broad range of people and experience. Advocates range from employees to fans. It is my belief that the key is experience with the product and brand. Actual ownership experience is king and will always foster the most authentic, trusted experiences for the shopper, and all the data backs this up. But the fact is, sometimes you need to crawl before you run. So even employees that have been trained up will get you results. The key is to start something and build on it. One of my favorite quotes is from one of our customers. They are a top 10 retail site. The VP of Ecommerce said, "If every strategy and solution I've invested in delivered on conversion rates and AOV lift, I'd be swimming in money." And well, I'm not swimming in money. That was before implementing the strategy laid out here. I don't know that they're swimming in it, but they are definitely seeing the following results, and it is no coincidence that they're rated as one of the most trusted websites on the web today. Your conversion rates will rise 400 to 600% on all engaged visitors in the shopper and buyer groups. Those you give advocate experience to convert 4 to 6 times higher. Average order values increase 10 to 35%. This is just half the story. The reason for this increase is not cheesy upsells. This is about helping buyers make complete purchases. Most shoppers need additional items to get the ownership experience they're looking for, and advocates make those add-on purchases a natural and appreciated part of the purchase. The beauty of this strategy is your shoppers and buyers are spending more money with you and thanking you for it. As you would expect, the higher conversion rates and increased order values give you an average of 5 to 12% lift in revenue site-wide. And customer satisfaction scores average over 9. Happy customers that are buying more and more often is what this strategy brings to your site. My favorite is the gold that you get every day if you use a system that captures the interactions. Here is an actual customer transcript from one of our customer interactions. This is a shopper that converted to a buyer. They usually don't buy online, but because of the interactive experience, they spent over $2,000 and view the experience as a perfect 10. Let's summarize. You stop wasting resources on visitors that will never buy and move that effort to people that have a higher intention to buy. You are sending buyers on a search that is 3 times longer than it was a few years ago. 70% make it to the cart and bail out. Only 2% purchase, and of that 2%, 1/3 are actively questioning their purchase. Online shoppers need help in their purchasing journey. The paradox of choice shows us that help does not come in the form of throw more spaghetti at them, and the old saying, less is more, is relevant for online shoppers. Too many choices lead to no decision. Shoppers are looking for trusted advice to narrow options, and the most trusted comes from owners and users of the product. To get started, you need to find a platform to build a strategy on that can first target the shoppers and buyers and not the lookers. It should also facilitate the user experience engagement and measure the effectiveness of each interaction, including conversion rates and satisfaction scores. Last, you need to get advocates. These can range from fans to employees. Here are just some of the companies that are winning today with advocates, ranging from employees to fans. I'd like to thank you for spending time with me and offer to take a deeper dive with you if you're interested. Use the sign-up form on the right and we can take as much time as you need to get the answers you're looking for. I realize your time is valuable, so I'm going to honor that with a free gift just for showing up. I look forward to speaking with you soon.